Hi, I'm Andrew Tate, and you're watching H1 Unlimited on YouTube.
Hello, race fans, and welcome to Seattle, Washington, Lake Washington, and the Ted Jones Racecourse, the site this weekend of the 2026 Apollo Mechanical Cup at Seafair. We have been dancing around some weather and some clouds and maybe some rain, although we didn't get wet. But we've been fighting wind, and we've had runaway buoys and all kinds of good stuff like that. But I think right now, Dustin Eccles, the conditions out on the water are about as good as they have been. But one way or another, we're putting boats in the water. They are in the water now, and we're going to go racing here with H1 Unlimited and Heat 1A of the 2026 Apollo Mechanical Cup. I know you are ready. We've been waiting. We've been waiting all weekend for this. It's time to get this party started.
Absolutely, yeah. We've had pretty much everything you can imagine today except for a raceable course. And right in front of us right now, we've got all the buoys look like they're in position, and everything looks good. And I think we're gonna have some boats on the water here shortly.
We are indeed. If you look down, in fact, you're looking at the pit area there, you can see in the background on the far left of the screen, you can see the U1, the BWR Racing Andrew Tate's ride. It is in the water. You can also see Corey Peabody's ride. That's the U3. The Beacon Plumbing presents the Tahoe Miss. He is there on the left. There's slings on boats in the background, and there goes Gunnar O'Farrell's boat coming off the trailer and headed toward Lake Washington. On the far right-hand side of the screen there, for those of you watching on the H1 Unlimited YouTube channel, you can see the Royer Miss Madison is in the water. We are getting ready to go. And Dustin, it's time to do what we've been wanting to do all week long, which is talk about who's going to be in our Heat 1A, and it starts off in lane number 1, a boat you like. It's drivable. Jeff Bernard got qualified this morning. The Graham Trucking U12 going to be in lane number 1.
Yeah, the U12 Graham Trucking got on the water today. He actually got a few laps in, and he wasn't able to qualify as fast as he wanted. He didn't get all the laps in that he wanted, but he got enough. He qualified for the field, so he'll be in the inside lane.
Next to him in lane number 2, that boat you see all the way off to the right side of the screen. For those of you watching on the YouTube channel, those of you on the shoreline here on the north side of the Stan Sayers Memorial Pit area, you can see Brandon Kennedy's ride, the Royer Miss Madison. That's the white hydroplane. It is sitting in the water. It is ready to go. We go to lane 3, a boat you know well, Bucket List Racing. We had some fun this morning with Dylan Runne. We know he's ready.
Oh, they're ready. They were in and out of the water, I think, 3 separate times that we counted on. I mean, they wanted some water time. They wanted to get back out there and try some of the changes. Didn't get the opportunity, but we're going to see it here shortly.
Yeah, and he also said he wanted to get out and do some timing runs, and he didn't get to do that. We'll watch him at the start. Lane number 4, the U3, the Beacon Plumbing presents the Tahoe Miss. Corey Peabody, his boat looks strong toward the end of the day in the Tri-Cities. He's going to be out in lane number 4, and he's got himself between a couple of hot dogs there with a Bucket List off to his left, and he's going to have Andrew Tate on the outside on the right side of him. Corey can handle it.
Yeah, you know, we were able to take a step inside their truck earlier today and kind of see some of the prep that goes into making this boat fast. And we see those guys, they qualified really well. Corey has a positive attitude going into this, and he's ready to make this race course one of his favorites.
So inside out, it is the U12 Graham Trucking, Lane 2, U6 Royer, Miss Madison, Lane 3 Bucket List Racing, Lane 4 U3 Beacon Plumbing presents Tahoe Miss, Lane 5 U1 BWR Racing. And I like to say this every time, you know I'm going to do it, or as I like to say inside out, it's Bernard, Kennedy, Runne, Peabody, Tate. Let's start this show. I'm ready.
Yeah, you know, Andrew Tate, he's tired of talking about it. He's been second fiddle all season, and he says, hey, this one's mine. And he showed us how fast he is in qualifying, and I don't think anyone was surprised because that boat has been so dominant, and Andrew's finally putting all the parts and pieces together to put it out front, and we'll see how he can do on the outside, you know, in this big heat. This is a full heat, and he's got a long ways around to go.
Yeah, the water conditions from here look pretty good. But there is those gusts that are blowing across it, and I know I made a comment to all the radio guys here behind us. I always go by and just kind of fist bump them and say good luck, and I told them all this time, I said, just be careful. Be careful. Let's bring these boats back, and it brings up the old line. You cannot win the Apollo Mechanical Cup at Seafair on Saturday afternoon. You can sure as heck lose it, but you can't win it here. So go out, collect some points. Let's be safe and put these boats back on the trailer. We've still got lots of racing scheduled to go this weekend. That is our Heat 1A. Our officials are going to start this heat when we are ready. When we are ready. We're not going to have our typical 10 to the 5, 5 to the 5, and then a countdown. They will when everybody is ready and all our drivers are strapped in. That will get radioed up to the chief referee, and he will advise everybody then that we come up on 1 or 2 minutes to the 5-minute mark. A good look on the screen there. Our fans here on the shoreline can see the breeze on the water, but looking at the live stream right now, you can see that dark water at the bottom of the screen. That is a gust of wind coming across the lake, and there's plenty of those. Water itself doesn't look bad, although there are some big rollers running in there, but it's those gusts of wind that's what worries me, and these drivers are the best in the business. They'll know how to handle it, and they'll get through safe. So that's the plan, and we are getting ready to go. Seafair would like to take this opportunity to thank Barnhart Cranes. Barnhart Crane is one of the largest heavy lift and heavy transport organizations in the United States with over 50 years of service to our community and customers. Barnhart prides itself on providing innovative solutions for its customers' needs. Thank you, Barnhart Cranes. And Tulalip Resort and Casino, when all you want is everything. Immerse yourself in Washington's premier gaming destination with AAA 4-diamond accommodations, a full-service spa, top-notch entertainment, and award-winning restaurants. Tulalip Resort and Casino. Seafair says thank you. And I think, Dustin Eccles, we all do. Thank you to Barnhart Crane and Tulalip Resort and Casino.
When all you want is everything, you know, that's a good way to put it. Right now, I think everyone on the shoreline and everybody at home, we just want to see some race boats in the water, and we're coming up so close. And, you know, I was earlier today as the wind was just whipping down the front straightaway here, and we were watching, you know, all these crews chase buoys down, and we saw about everything you could possibly see. And I was thinking, I don't know. I really don't know if we're going to see, you know, a heat today, because this is not looking good. But now everything is just kind of laying down for us. And, you know, when you talk about that dark water, and you're looking at your screen right now, you can see little patches of the dark water. If that camera were to pan the opposite direction and look down towards the floating bridge, the rest of the lake looks dark. You can see that wind really coming across there. But the water itself is looking okay. So it's going to be a very technical afternoon here in Seattle, but these teams are going to get it done.
And as we've been talking, that is part of the shtick here in Seattle. It's always going to be rough. It's going to be rough because of all those boats out there in the log boom and all the boats moving around on the lake on the other side of the log boom. The wind is just another added treat.
Yeah, you know, we talk about the great equalizer, and I get that's the kind of the term for the weekend here, but everyone has the same race course. And so you just as a driver, you need to drive with your head, make sure that you're not putting the boat in any bad situations. And as a team, you need to set it up to get through the conditions. So as the conditions change during the weekend, you can adjust the boat and make it faster.
On the camera right there, you're getting a look as he panned past the bridge, and you can actually still see it there. You can see the white caps where the waves are blowing up toward the bridge and then rebounding and coming back off. And that's going to make that turn two at the top end treacherous. And that's what J. Michael Kelly was saying after he went out. He said, actually, front straightaway, back straightaway, turn one wasn't too bad. But, boy, at the top end, that's where he said at that time it was unraceable.
Yeah, this is where, from our vantage point, we're going to say it doesn't look that bad. And then when we look down at the screen, the monitor, and see the drone footage and all the great camera footage, you're really going to get a good front row view of what these boats are doing and what the drivers are doing to keep them on the water. And I think that's going to be the best part of the day, is just watching to see how these guys can control these boats and keep them on the water.
And the other thing that you can't see really on the screen is you're looking at the pit area from the start-finish line tower where we are, and you see those clouds in the background over Mercer Island. But I'm telling you, above the lake here and above basically the city of Seattle, the clouds have parted. It is pure blue sky behind us and in front of us, and pretty much all the way down to, there you go, you're getting a view there. Great job by the camera crew to show that that's what's going on. The clouds are around us for the most part, but above us, it is all nice and blue. So if that can just translate to a little less wind, we could have us a good afternoon.
Yeah, I'll take credit for this, Brad, because, we have the baseball stadium with the retractable roof. We just peeled the clouds back a little bit so we can have a good afternoon.
I like that. So while we await the arrival of our boats in Heat 1A, let's maybe take an opportunity now to take a look at the boats that will come out for our Heat 1B that is going to come up shortly thereafter. There will be 4 boats in our Heat 1B, and sitting in lane number 1, there it is on the screen. It is the U-21 and Gunnar O'Farrell. He'll be driving the Beacon Plumbing. Presents KZOK. He'll be in lane 1. Lane 2, I think Jamie Nilsen's got to like this draw right here. Jamie Nilsen going to be sitting in lane 2 in the Miss FLAV-R-PAC. Lane number 3 going to be the U00 Beacon Plumbing presents Maverick and J. Michael Kelly. He'll be in 3. And then the guy that has won both our previous 2 races, the U27 Miss Apollo, Captain America, Jimmy Shane. And he's the one that scared us yesterday when he said this boat was made for a 2-mile race course.
Yeah, I was a little surprised, after hearing that comment that they didn't step it up, but they didn't really have a second chance to go out there and try anything new. And then we saw this morning that they put a different engine in. They were all excited to go out and run it. Didn't have time to make it happen due to weather, so the team pulled that engine back out, put another one back in. So I don't think we've seen everything that there is to see out of that 27 yet. And Jimmy Shane was still smiling when we talked to him down there, and I think he's got a lot to smile about.
Jimmy Shane's always smiling. He's always smiling.
Well, he's got his family here. I saw one of his sons down here, and I think we're going to have Colton's going to be here tomorrow. So, he's got a lot to be happy about, and he's got a fast race boat underneath him.
Yes, I was referred to again. He came up, the standing joke is he referred to me on a post that was online. He referred to you and I as Dustin Eccles and Brad Pitt. And he came up to me this morning, gave me a big hug, and he goes, Brad Pitt! I said, dude, thank you. I was a hero for 2 weeks at home.
That's pretty good.
It's good stuff. Yeah, and good to see the kids here, and everybody's ready to go.
Yeah, I'm not seeing a lot of movement out of the crane, and Brad and I are a little removed. We're a little distance between us and the pit area, so it's hard to see around the other side of the pit area. But I do see the Miss Madison Royer boat in the water facing us, and I see the U3 in the water there, and we see the U1, and I have to guess that the other 2 are on the other side, ready to go. We're on the clock.
Yeah, we should. Oh, here we go. We are coming up on 1 to the 5. 1 to the 5 in 2-1 mark. 1 minute to the 5-minute mark. So it's time to go racing at the 2026 Apollo Mechanical Cup at Seafair. It is Heat 1A. Race fans from Seattle along the shoreline and watching on the H1 Unlimited YouTube channel, the tradition is about to continue on Lake Washington. We've been racing here since 1951. The ghosts of the past are all here. They're looking down. They want to see racing. You want to see racing. And Dustin and I are ready to go as well. It is about to happen. 25 seconds to the 5-minute mark. If you are new to watching unlimited hydroplane racing, the boats can come out on the race course at the 5-minute mark. And then the idea is to put your boat on the start-finish line right in front of Dustin and myself. When the clock strikes 0, cross the line too early, you get a 1-minute penalty, and you are basically out of it. Be a couple ticks late, and the same thing's going to happen. You don't want to trail the field into the first turn. And then it's 3 laps. The winner will get a checkered flag. It's a sprint race. We're inside 5 minutes. Corey Peabody is away from the dock. Here comes Jeff Bernard. He is away. Dylan Runne is away in the orange boat. Time to go, Dustin Eccles. Let's get it going.
Yeah, here we go. Watching these guys get onto the course, I mean, it just gives me chills getting this weekend started in the right way.
What a sight as we look down to our right. 1, 2, 3, 4 boats away from the dock, and the 5th one is away, the Royer Miss Madison, but they are coming off the other side. Now, some of the mystery is out of our racing here as the boats know what lane they will be racing in. We are not fighting for lanes. And running those down one more time, Jeff Bernard, the Graham Trucking, he'll be in lane 1. Royer Miss Madison, Brandon Kennedy, he'll be in 2. Bucket List, Dylan Runne in 3. Lane 4 will be the Beacon Plumbing presents Tahoe Miss with Corey Peabody. And on the outside, the U1 BWR Racing are defending National High Points champion and defending Lake Washington champion Andrew Tate.
Yeah, Jeff Bernard is not wasting any time right now. He's going to head down to the far end and get a quick timing run as fast as he possibly can. He's had the least amount of time on the lake this weekend, so he needs to learn a lot in a short amount of time.
So he went up to the top end first. He is coming down across the start-finish line. You see the other boats on the screen going up toward the top end. We've got a new wrinkle that we didn't have in our first race this year, that being that our boats must come across the start-finish line at least one time at speed before the race starts. The Graham Trucking and Jeff Bernard has done that. So has Dylan Runne and Bucket List Racing. And look at Andrew Tate. He comes smartly across the start-finish line on a far outside lane because that's where he's going to start. Corey Peabody is behind him in the Beacon presents the Tahoe Miss. And then Brandon Kennedy, the young man who snuck up on us and was trying to photobomb us a little bit this morning. And he's having a good time. He's enjoying his stay in Seattle.
Absolutely. He's one of the busiest guys in the pits, also driving a Grand Prix and Unlimited today. He'll have plenty of seat time. But, you know, I was just impressed. Andrew Tate on the outside, he showed us he's going to have to nail this start on the outside. He's got a long way to go and a lot of fast boats inside of him. This is going to be a tough one.
It is going to be a tough one. They're all tough ones. We've got an extremely competitive field of H1 Unlimited hydroplanes. Checking out the clock for those of you on the shore, 2:20, 2 minutes and 20 seconds to the start of Heat 1A. Boy, and our field is tightly gathered up at the top end of the race course. Again, we're not fighting for lanes. Everybody knows where they're going to be, and they just want to be in that lane at the start-finish line when the clock strikes 0, and that's going to happen in 2 minutes, in 3 seconds, 2, 1, mark. 2 minutes. 2 minutes to the start of Heat 1A.
Yeah, this is one of those situations with, 5-boat heat. You absolutely cannot afford to be late to the start. And we talk about digging yourself in a hole. This is, the first heat of the weekend. You've got to start out strong here. And there's just no way to make up for a bad start when you're against this many fast boats.
And conversely, you do not want to put yourself in a tough situation. Similarly, you do not want to go out and run to where you might break something. It's early in the weekend. You can't win the Apollo Mechanical Cup today. You can lose it. These guys all know that better than I. So 1:20 until the start. 1:20, we got Dylan Runne at the top end of the race course. He's cutting across the race course on the Grand Prix course. That is a legal maneuver. Now, I want to watch him again. He can cut the race course again if he wants to. He can't turn left yet. He could now if he wanted to.
I like what he's doing there, Brad. He's not going slow. He's not plowing water. He's not getting water on the windshield. I think that's a smart move.
And we'll get a shot, I'm going to assume, from the drone here in a minute. There it is. And you see lane 3 is wide open for him with 45 seconds. Lane 3 is open. That's part of this start procedure. He knows that lane's going to be there. They've got to leave it open for him so he can come up there and slot himself right where he's supposed to be. Look at Andrew Tate. He's going to trail the field. That is the last boat going up the backstretch. And now Andrew Tate starts to put his foot in it a little bit, but so does the field. They are coming up on 25 seconds. Watch the boat on the inside. Jeff Bernard, he's got the shortest way to go, but he's got to be on time. And now it's when that big wheel happens up there, getting a little tight up in there for that's Corey Peabody, and his lane is getting really tight. He's getting wet. He's not going to be here at the start. We're inside 5 seconds. We are 3, 2, 1. Mark. It appears to be clean, and it's Andrew Tate on the outside, right with him on the inside. On the inside is Jeff Bernard. He's going to get down there. Dylan Runne is in the between boats with Bernard on the inside, and it's going to be Tate on the outside. Runne's in between boats, but look at Jeff Bernard.
Looked like Gunnar also got wet on the inside there. He got washed down, so we'll have to see what happened there. But out front, we got a great race now. Bernard on the inside and Tate on the outside with, wow, Dylan Runne right in the middle. That's a tough spot to be in.
This is a tough spot to be in. Remember, we're going to go around 3 times, and the start is clean. Start is legal. Now, you can't see in between boats Dylan Runne. He'll show up. There he is. Now, off the top end of the race course, Jeff Bernard comes down in lane number 1, and look at Andrew Tate flying the U1, the BWR Racing, as he comes across start-finish line, puts 1 in the book, looking real strong. Dustin on the outside.
Absolutely. Jeff Bernard's not giving up an inch there. He's got that U12 wound up, and he's got lane position now. Now it's Bernard on the inside, Tate on the outside. Tate pulls ahead just a little bit, but Bernard is just painting those buoys.
Bernard's doing a good job. We got a good race back in the pack for 4th place. Corey Peabody and Brandon Kennedy are going at it. Kennedy's still holding off Peabody, but he's right on the outside of him. Now up at the top end of the race course, halfway through Heat 1A, Andrew Tate with about a half a rooster tail lead on Jeff Bernard. You talked about Bernard having a drivable boat. He's driving it really well.
Oh, he is. He's doing a great job keeping it right where he needs to be in 2nd place right now. What a run for Jeff Bernard, but Tate is not stretching it out by much. He's right there.
Now, he is not right there. He's standing in that left side rear view mirror. 2 up, 2 down, 1 to go for Andrew Tate. U1 BWR Racing. He is Andrew Tate, the defending Lake Washington champion. Boy, Bernard doesn't want to let him go. He's hanging right with him, and Andrew's giving him plenty of room, driving him clean, Dustin.
He is. Yeah, Jeff Bernard is just running a perfect line right now, and he's doing what he needs to do to keep Andrew Tate in his sights. Tate might have a little extra, but Jeff Bernard is not letting him get away. But look at that race back there for 4th place. Those guys are deck to deck, and that's the U6 on the inside and Corey Peabody on the outside. And that was the 6th that got washed down earlier. I misspoke, but he's hanging right with Corey Peabody.
Yeah, off the corner, Peabody's now gotten around him by about 2, maybe 3 boat lengths, but we'll jump back up to our leaders and bring our leader and apparent winner down to the start-finish line. It is Andrew Tate, swings it out to about lane number 4. He will come down. Bernard's behind him on the inside, but your winner on the water of Heat 1A, U1 BWR Racing and Andrew Tate, a great run for Jeff Bernard. I think he's got to be extremely happy.
Absolutely.
3rd place is going to go to Dylan Runne in the Bucket List Racing, but look at this race for 4th. It's going to be close, but Peabody is going to pull it off and come home in 4th place in the Beacon Plumbing Presents Tahoe Miss, and a very, very game Brandon Kennedy had that Royer U6 Miss Madison really rolling.
Absolutely, and both of those drivers before the race, actually the U3 before the race, we saw him get wet and got washed down. We'll have to wait and see if there was any calls. Then also the U6 I noticed on the inside in, I believe it was the first turn, got wet also. So there's a lot to review, a lot to look at. We'll let the referees dial it all in. We're just going to call it how it was on the race course. And again, what a run for Jeff Bernard. You know, he had a tough time qualifying earlier, but he was able to take that boat to the front and keep it right there.
Yeah, he really did. And Jeff Bernard, the drivers have all been told, do not come into the pit area until such time as they see a black flag. That was made very clear at the drivers' meeting. That black flag is now hanging on the race course, and our boats can return to the pit area. And you are right, Dustin Eccles. There is a lot to watch and a lot for the officials to look at on that one. Corey Peabody was just flat never a factor in that particular heat. He got wet up there at the top end before the start, and I got to think somebody's taking a look at that, but we'll let the officials do their job. You and I'll stick to what we do, and that's announcing.
Yeah, not going to speculate, not going to get ourselves in any trouble, but we'll let you know as soon as we hear something. And I misspoke. When I was looking at the white boat out there, Brandon Kennedy, I watched him get wet on the inside, and again, it was so hard to tell. There was so much action going on, and Brad and I were trying to look everywhere we possibly could, and I did see him go through a rooster tail, and it could have been just the wind. You know, when the wind picks up as strong as it is and the way it's blowing, you can still be legally leaving somebody lanes inside of you, but they still get washed down because that rooster tail is so tall, hangs up there for so long, and it'll fall on your boat. So We'll just have to wait and see.
And that's why we have officials, and that's why we have announcers, and they are two entirely different people. Yeah, that was I got a little lost down there in turn one myself. I will apologize to our audience who is listening here on the shoreline and watching on the YouTube channel. Good racing. And now we just have to straighten it out. And again, for the new fans who might be watching this for the first time, BWR Racing, Andrew Tate, he is the winner on the water, but what we have to do now is put the boats through what we call technical inspection. There is a data acquisition system, a black box, if you will, aboard all of these hydroplanes, and those boxes will come out of the boats immediately, go to the H1 Unlimited tech truck, where they will be downloaded, the information will be scanned, and they're looking at two things. They're looking at the rotation speed of the output shaft of the turbine. They will put that up against mil specs, and there are certain percentages that you can exceed or not, and for periods of time. We won't get into the technical side of that, but you can't overspin the output shaft of the turbine too far or you get called and get a penalty. And the other is fuel flow. These boats are regulated to 4.2 gallons per minute. You can't run more than that through the flow control valve. So we'll let Seth Parshall down in the tech truck do his job. And you and I just wait for that. That comes to us, and we'll get the information and pass it along.
Yeah, we have the easy job of just staying up here and waiting to be told what to say. But, you know, you talk about the N2 rules and the engine overspeed, and basically there's a time limit. They say 3 seconds. It can't be over for 3 seconds. And that kind of covers the ground of, as you watch these boats run, they come out of the water. They hit a wave, and they come way up out of the water. And obviously the engines are going to rev way up because there's no load on the propeller. But it has to come back down within spec in that time, and that 3 seconds covers it because you have to account for the rough water here, and that's exactly what that rule is set up for. What a run, though. You know, Andrew Tate did not have an easy run on the outside, and I think some of the things that happened before the start with Corey Peabody not being a factor, that definitely helped Andrew Tate in that situation because he didn't have to get around the 4 boats inside of him. He really only had 3 boats, and then with whatever else happened, you know, on the course, it really helps him.
So usually what will happen at this point is our chief referee will come down and give us a heads up about the boats being legal or illegal on the water. Dustin and I had a couple of questions about what was going on, but Andrew Tate, the winner of On the Water of our Heat 1A, we understand is clean on the water. We understand Andrew Tate was clean on the water. That's not tech truck. That's 2 different things, but anything that may have occurred before the heat, he is not the culprit if something did occur. He is clean on the water. So now we're going to send it down to our Danny Rogers in the pit area, standing by with our winner, at least on the water.
On the water, what kind of fight did Jeff Bernard put up there in that first heat with you?
Yeah, he had the short way around the race course there, but I know his boat's good in rough water, and it looked like he was up for a good fight. So glad to get through that one, to be honest with you. We've battling the wind and the water. We came back in one piece, so I think that in itself is a win. To come home with 400 is real nice.
How much more are you acclimating to that outside lane and having to make sure you hit the start line perfect every time?
It's tough, you know. I guess I'm acclimated by now. We kind of been there all year, so try and hit it with a head of steam and hope for the best. I don't know. We'll see what happens here. I think everything stays as it is right now. We'll be back on the outside, so I guess that was a nice little practice run.
Appreciate it. Thanks, Adrian.
Yeah, thank you.
He's getting used to being out there on the outside.
He makes it look so easy. He's not even out of breath. I mean, but he's got such a great boat underneath him that's how he can get this done. But he did a good job as a driver of making a good start and just running his own race and making sure that he stayed in his lane.
Yeah, so when you talked about it was a little bit, it's a tall task, don't get me wrong, but it wasn't quite as tall as it could have been because as they got to the lower corner and the apex of turn 1, lap 1, he really only had 2 boats off to his left. The Royer Miss Madison was back a bit, and Corey Peabody had his difficulty at the start. There were 3 boats going side by side through the lower corner, and that was Jeff Bernard, Dylan Runne, and Andrew Tate. So it wasn't quite as tall, but I'm not going to say that to him. I'll let you have that discussion with him.
No, still a great job, and I think if Corey Peabody did stay with him through that first turn, it would have made it a little bit easier on Jeff Bernard to stay with him. But Jeff did a great job in his doing what he did, and it just shows you they didn't have a good qualifying time, but he was right there.
Hey, if everything goes cool with the tech truck and the U12 and the Graham Trucking, Jeff Bernard's going to walk out of there with 300 points. And trust me, they will feel very good about that. An intact race boat and 300 points after the first heat. After coming to the pit area this morning, having not yet qualified, they'll take it.
Yeah, he's going to feel really good up until he goes to the lane draw position where he gets to pick because unfortunately, in this situation, the better you're doing, it's going to be a little harder each time because you're going to move to the outside.
Yeah, the better you do, the further you're going to move out. So Heat 1A is in the books. It's not necessarily official. We're going to put the unofficial results up on the screen. And the unofficial winner of Heat 1A, the U1, Andrew Tate, BWR Racing, he will pick up 400 points. Now, not to confuse our new fans, their unofficial results, Andrew has been cleared on the water. There were no infractions for veering out, cutting somebody off, and there are rules for all of that. He's clean on the water. He still has to clear the tech truck. Second place, the aforementioned Jeff Bernard. Jeff Bernard, he will pick up those 300 points. Again, assuming we get through tech, the Graham Trucking would have 300 points. U3, the Tahoe Miss and Corey Peabody, showing in third place now with 225 points. And the Royer Miss Madison, Brandon Kennedy in fourth with 169. And as you just pointed out, pointing at the screen there, Dustin Eccles, the U40 Dylan Runne is showing in fifth place. So there's something that occurred there.
Yeah, they were assessed a 1-minute penalty for bearing out before the start. So that's the explanation of what took the U3 Corey Peabody and the Tahoe Miss out of that one. So the referees, they made their decision, and that's the result on the screen.
Yeah, so what Dustin is talking about there, we talked about Corey Peabody at the top end of the race course. Before they came down for the start, he was getting wet up there, and it appeared his lane was going away. He was between Andrew Tate and the BWR Racing on his right. He had Dylan Runne bucket list on his left. When the officials looked at the footage, they decided that the bucket list and Dylan Runne had moved out toward Corey Peabody as opposed to what we might have thought Andrew Tate moving in. Tate was clean, bucket list and Dylan gets the penalty. That's a tough break.
It is, and that's what I saw also watching the overhead and the great drone shots. And unlike car racing or a lot of forms of racing, there's no lines on the water out here, so it's up to the driver's discretion. And basically, you're basing it off of the people that are next to you, so it's a really tough task. And when you look at the distance in between lane 2 and 3, and when you saw the U6 inside of the 40, there was a lot of space in between those two boats, and there shouldn't have been. They should have been right next to each other, which would have left space for the U3 outside of the 40. And unfortunately, it got away from him a little bit, and the call was made. But he's a great driver. He's going to adjust, and they'll have it figured out for the next heat.
You're the driver, I'm the announcer, but I'm going to make the comment. If you're going to make that mistake, make it in the first heat of the day. Don't make it in the final.
Yeah, I keep going back to the thing. Don't start digging a hole right now because this is when it all matters. So, yeah, just wash this one away, start over, and clear your head, and just get some points here moving forward.
Seafair would like to take this opportunity to thank Apollo Mechanical Contractors. Apollo Mechanical Contractors is proud to sponsor Seafair. 45 years strong, we support our communities and the people who build great things. Ranked number 5 in the nation, we are growing nationwide while staying true to who we are. ApolloMechanical.com, that's Apollo, MECH.com. Building people who build great things. It's another one of my favorite taglines, and it's written right on the side of the boat. Thank you from Seafair. Boeing has been a proud sponsor of Seafair from the start. Boeing has roughly 65,000 employees in Washington State, more than anywhere else in the world. Thank you, Boeing, for bringing us today's air show and being a part of Seafair. And they've been here since the very beginning, day one. Imagine that, all the way back at the very first Seafair. I wasn't there, you weren't there, but guess what? Boeing was. Thank you from Seafair to Boeing.
We can already see in the pit area that the boats for Heat 1B are in the water and facing the right direction already, so this is looking positive.
Yep, and I just saw an umbrella close over the top of the canopy there on the U-27 of Miss Apollo, and that's because we are inside. 1 minute to the 5. They've started the clock. This is something we've been doing a lot this year, and we've been doing it when the conditions are a little bit dicey, as we have here with the wind. But when everybody's ready and the conditions are right, let's start the clock and get going. So that's what we are doing. We're coming up on 30 seconds. 30 seconds to the 5, 2, 1 mark. 5:30 till the start. Looking at our field, the U-21 going to be in lane number 1. That's the Beacon Plumbing presents KZOK, Gunnar O'Farrell. Lane 2, U-11, Miss FLAV-R-PAC and Jamie Nilsen. Lane number 3, U-00, Beacon Plumbing presents Maverick and J. Michael Kelly. And on the outside, the U-27, Miss Apollo, Jimmy Shane. So Jimmy's going to have to drive around some serious speed off to his left. This will be interesting if all 4 boats especially can hit the line at the same time with boat speed.
Well, and yeah, this heat has arguably some of the best starters in the business too. So this is going to be a really tough one. I will be blown away if you don't see this as a perfect start coming down here for Heat 1B, and that's going to make it that much tougher for Jimmy Shane on the outside. He's got a great boat ride. He's got a lot of speed, but so do those guys inside of him, so this is going to be a good one.
You're looking at 2 boats that are sitting there at the dock. The other 2 are away. So those of you on the live stream, you're looking at Gunnar O'Farrell on the left, Jamie Nilsen on the right. They have not yet come out on the race course. The other 2 boats have, and those other 2 boats are the 00, Beacon Plumbing presents Maverick and J. Michael Kelly. Jimmy Shane is also away in the U-27 Miss Apollo. And again, we're not fighting for lanes. You don't have to be the first guy on the race course and get your start procedure and all your timing marks set immediately and worry about getting inside somebody. That mystery has been taken off the table. Now you go back to that view from the pit area or at the pit area, and on the left side of your screen you see the U-21 Beacon Plumbing presents KZOK, Gunnar O'Farrell up and running. There is no problem down there with the U-11 Miss FLAV-R-PAC. The lid's been down. They are just sitting there waiting, Dustin.
Yeah, he has his points on the race course he wants to be, and we always see Jamie Nilsen cut through the infield. He's one of those guys that just cuts through. So why not just sit at the dock, save the equipment, leave when you want to leave. But one thing that these guys need to focus on is don't be late to the party. As you saw that, Corey Peabody was hanging back trying to get a lot of boat speed to come down to make that start. That doesn't guarantee you that your lane is going to be there. It should be, but anything can happen at this point with the wind, all the stuff. So these guys need to all be there together on time to make a start.
Yeah, it should be, and it's supposed to be, but that doesn't necessarily mean it always is. Jimmy Shane, the first to come across the start-finish line and score up. You're looking at Gunnar O'Farrell as he goes through the bottom end of he's all the way up at the top end. J. Michael Kelly has now come across the start-finish line. He will score up. Here comes the aforementioned Gunnar O'Farrell, he will come down and do his score up and off the top end of the race course, the U11 FLAV-R-PAC. So all 4 of our boats have, I would say, effectively scored up. They have crossed start-finish line before the start at speed, as Jamie does that right now. 225 until our start. The boats are spread out. They will be bunching up in the next minute and a half. And then you heard Dustin Eccles say, we got a bunch of guys out here who are very proficient at putting a boat on the start-finish line with the throttle wide open and being legal. Let's see if it happens.
Yeah, what a great shot they just had from the drones, too. You could really tell the wind going across the race course. You could see all the dark patches, and what a great shot. We're just looking at it right out in front of us here, and as you look down the lake at Jamie Nilsen towards the floating bridge, you can see that wind. It's with just under 2 minutes on the clock, it's really picking up.
And here comes Jimmy with a good hard run to the line. Boy, did he hang the left sponson just as he got to the start-finish line. That wind's going to get their attention.
It is. You know, they have to drive with their heads, and they got to think about it. When to use that extra speed, how much wing to use. Don't use too much. Don't get the front end down to bounce, and it'll get that boat upset. So we'll see how they can manage the conditions here.
And there's a thing called the Genesee Gap coming down the front straightaway, and as you get down toward the first turn and toward the pit area, there is a channel coming in from the right-hand side off the shoreline where the wind is able to blow through an open area through the hills here, and it's called the Genesee Gap, and it'll get your attention if you're not paying attention. It will wake you up quickly. Jimmy Shane comes across the line trailing the 3 boats you see down at the bottom end of the race course.
Wow, he is really carrying that sponson, like you said before. And you know, Jimmy's doing exactly what I think he should do, staying on the outside, keeping that boat speed up. Don't plow through the water and take on water over the deck and fill the boat up. Stay nice and clean. Keep the boat speed. So he's going to hit it hard on the outside.
Inside 50 seconds, coming up on 40. Mark, 40 seconds until the start. It is Heat 1B of the 2026 Apollo Mechanical Cup at Seafair. 1A is in the books. 1B is on the water. Up to the top end with inside 30 seconds. We're at 25 seconds until our start. J. Michael Kelly's going to lead him up there in lane 3. Nilsen is lagging back in lane 2. This is what you were talking about. You can come in there behind everybody. Your lane's supposed to be there, but I think Jamie, is he going to be all right? He might be a little bit tardy here.
I think he's going to be late, unfortunately. We'll see. Oh,
maybe not. Here he comes. Inside boats. We're inside 5. We're 3, 2, 1. Mark Nilsen was right. 3 of them were right. All 4 of them were right. And they come down to the bottom end of the race course. On the outside, Jimmy Shane with a lot of boat speed. But it's Jamie Nilsen going to get down there first in lane number 2. And then in between him and Jimmy Shane is J. Michael Kelly. But off the corner is Jamie Nilsen. He had the good start, Dustin, and he's running like a rocket.
He nailed it. He showed him how to make a good start. Jamie's one of the best in the business. He's on the inside right now, and he's leading them down the back straightaway into turn number 2. And oh man, look at that shot. You got Jimmy Shane on the outside, J. Michael in the middle. What a run.
What a run. Got to be careful up there, guys. Kelly starting to drop back. Boy, Shane whips it out to the outside, but it's Jamie Nilsen with a lead coming off the top end of the race course. He really hung it and flew it. He got it back down, Dustin, but that'll get his attention.
He did. He didn't lose anything, though. He's still got the lead ahead of Jimmy Shane. Jimmy Shane's chasing him hard on the outside, but he's not gaining much. He's got the long way around to go.
Boy, and Shane flew it, too. Not as high as Nilsen did, but now Nilsen at the bottom end of the race course has got 3, maybe 4 boat lengths. This has turned into a 2-boat duel as J. Michael Kelly has dropped back. It is Nilsen on the inside, Shane on the outside, up the backstretch about 165 miles an hour. They're running in some tough conditions, but these guys are doing their best to handle it. Still Jamie Nilsen at the top end, but boy, Shane's right with him.
Look at how tight on the hip Jimmy Shane is on Jamie Nilsen. Jimmy Shane wants to stay right there, make it as small a race course as humanly possible. They're trying to accelerate off that turn, but they can't go too much. It's really windy.
They are tied together. This time Jimmy Shane by maybe a boat length as they cross the start-finish line with 1 to go. Careful, guys, down to the bottom end of the race course. You're looking right at them coming into your living room on the H1 YouTube channel. Shane on the outside. Now it's Nilsen on the inside. Can we see both boats? We can as they come off the corner. Shane's got a boat length and a half. Make it 2 now. Make it 3. He starts to open up a little bit of water. The acceleration out of that 27 is just incredible, Dustin.
It is incredible, but I am blown away at the 11. The 11 is hanging right with him. He's not giving up much, and this is terrible conditions, but they're both doing a great job just keeping him on the water.
Anything can still happen up here. This is the checkered flag lap. They're going to come down and find it. Shane to the outside, Nilsen to the inside. Now it's just a charge to the finish line. Shane, if he can pull everything together and hold it on the water, and he does, he's going to pick up a checkered flag, but in the rooster tail, Jamie Nilsen of the U11 Miss FLAV-R-PAC with a whale of a run. Now up at the top end of the race course.
Wow.
Wow, we haven't been paying attention to this, but all of a sudden, Gunnar O'Farrell has gotten around J. Michael Kelly, and O'Farrell is going to come down. This is going to be really close at the finish line, and it is. Oh, my goodness.
I can't call it.
Oh, my goodness. I'm going to put a nickel on Gunnar O'Farrell on that one, but that was, I missed it. We were so engrossed with our leaders out front. I'm not sure exactly how all that took place, but Gunnar O'Farrell in the U21 Beacon Plumbing presents KZOK. He may have got him.
I can't call it. We're going to have to go back to see what exactly happened to put those two boats in that situation. You and I were both watching the front two boats so close because it was such a great race and they were on edge. I couldn't take my eyes off of it. But when I looked up, as you did, we looked down there and they were deck to deck.
Well, I looked up to the top end and it was a white boat, and that's not Kelly. And I was shocked as here comes. Boy, this is when I wished we had the open cockpits and you could interact with the drivers, because, boy, give it up for these two guys.
Yeah,
How
well
about
done.
that run? They both flew their boats incredibly, and I believe we're going to get a chance to take a look at the finish for third.
And Gunnar O'Farrell right here coming in front of the start-finish line right now. I mean, what a run. That guy let it all hang out here down the front straightaway, trying to stay ahead of J. Michael Kelly. I don't know who finished in third right now. It's still under review, but what a boat race.
And they are looking at it off to our left. As soon as they have it official, we will find out who on the water finished in third place.
We're watching we're actually up here, and we have the opportunity to watch the referees that are actually watching the review of how close that was. So we're not over-exaggerating it here. Both of us we are at the start-finish line, looking at it perfectly, and I cannot tell you who won. It was that close.
That was fun.
Wow, what a start. I mean, just the fact that those guys were so out of shape the whole time, somehow able to keep them under control and that close to each other. Jimmy Shane on the outside, he wasn't giving him any more than a couple of feet. I mean, just keeping him honest. You know, Jamie Nilsen did a perfect job on the buoys, did everything he could to stay ahead of Jimmy Shane. That was just such a run. And then when we look up there and we see J. Michael Kelly behind Gunnar O'Farrell, and, you know, he puts on the afterburners trying to play catch-up here, but I don't know how they got in that position. I mean, it was just unreal.
Yeah, I don't know if he flew the boat and had to pull his foot and lost momentum, and Gunnar got by him, and I'll take the hit for that. We need to keep an eye on that. But we missed it because we were so engrossed with what was going on out front, but that was fun.
Wow. There was some awesome action everywhere, and like I said, all the boats were running so fast and so loose, I couldn't take my eyes off of it.
So the 2026 Apollo Mechanical Cup at Seafair for H1 Unlimited Hydroplanes is officially underway. As soupy as it was, we got the heats in. It put our hearts in our throat a couple of times. I know Jamie Nilsen did coming down the front straightaway, and Jimmy Shane said two can play that game, and he picked up the right side of his boat and packed a bunch of air underneath it, and boy, oh boy, these guys are the best in the business, and kudos to Jamie Nilsen. You said he was a great guy and a great starter, and we thought maybe he was going to be a little tardy, and then as they came down about a buoy and a half before the start-finish line, that yellow nose poked out there, and we could see he was going to be on time and legal. It was a great start.
And my apologies for even second-guessing Jamie for a second, because when I saw him back there in the spray, that's similar to what we saw happen with Corey. You know, I thought, oh no, he's going to get wet. He's going to have to adjust. He's going to be late because, you know, you're reacting off the spray from the boats around you, making you take a different line. But he knew what he was doing. He doesn't need us to tell him what he's doing. He was right on his marks, and he did a perfect job.
We are going to get the replay of the finish for third place. We're going to re-rack that. They're working diligently to make that happen. It takes a couple steps here before we can get it all re-racked and back. And the officials, of course, wanted to take a look at it first. So we will get the look at it second. I see cords being unplugged, plugged, replugged. We'll have it here momentarily, but I'll bet it's good.
Yeah, there's plenty to talk about tonight. I mean, it's so nice to have these heats on Saturday and have them this close to where the teams can go back and make adjustments. But there's going to be a lot of, a lot of pit racing tonight where we can talk about some cool moments because everybody here did such a wonderful job of just getting these things to the finish line.
They did indeed, and we have now lost our producer. I see our screen is frozen right now, but we have lost our producer. He has run upstairs. There's a lot of conversation going on. Well, I think they got the micrometers out up there. They're trying to figure out who did this.
Yeah, and our video team also helps with some of the referees stuff. If the referees want to see certain things or they want to revisit different aspects of the race, then our team also helps those guys. So they're doing a lot of different jobs at one time, and my hat's off to those guys for being able to juggle it all. But yeah, if you know that when a race is so close that it takes this long to go back and review, and you and I are looking, like I said, we have a perfect plane across the start-finish line. We both had our eyes set there, and I could not tell you either way because it was that close. So that just
it was that close. We are now back looking at the start-finish line, and I'm certainly hoping that is a live view that you're looking at there because I see that boat out in front of us on the inside of the course. But that's the view we need right there. And all you have to do is break that first line of the front end of those two buoys that you see there on the start-finish line. Our camera is right down the line. It is just down to our left.
How cool of a run for Gunnar Farrell and the Beacon Plumbing Presents KZOK. They had a tough time qualifying, kind of like what we spoke about the U12. But when it really matters, Gunnar was able to get it done, and he went out here just did the best he could possibly do and ran his own race, and he put the boat in good situations, good positions, and even if he didn't end up in front of J. Michael Kelly in the Maverick, he's right with him. And to stay with that team is saying something.
Absolutely, it is. And he will be an excited young man either way. He's delightful, as we were saying, but he'll be excited, I am sure, either way.
Between you and I, just you and I talking here, Brad, I think it was too close and they should just rerun it. Right? Let's just go out here and just have them do it again because
I don't think that's a bad idea. I'll sign up for it. There's 2 votes. We could probably we're ready to see this, so we're going to take a look. Here it is. This is the finish for third. There is Gunnar on the left, and here comes Mike, and it's going to be Gunnar O'Farrell. Holy Toledo.
That's incredible.
Oh, my goodness, it's a good thing they painted that boat in the off-season.
Wow.
I think they needed, oh, my goodness, can we re-rack that one more? Here we go again. There it is, Gunnar O'Farrell just nipping J. Michael Kelly.
So he's going to play it in real time so you can see what Brad and I saw at the line.
Yeah, good luck with that. Wow. Great job by our replay crew here, our replay officials, and Gunnar O'Farrell. I know Danny Rogers is running around the pit area down there, and we certainly don't want to shortchange Jamie Nilsen or Jimmy Shane, but we're going to have to catch up with Gunnar here at some point.
And now we've got to figure out what happened to J. Michael Kelly, because when I looked up, he had about 3 rooster tails on Gunnar O'Farrell. So obviously he ran into some issues, and I was watching, that epic battle up front to where it's hard to see all over the race course, but we'll have to look and see where he ended up in that situation.
Yeah, Mike had a very comfortable lead in third place. I don't know if he hooked, if he spun. Don't know. We're going to have to do a little research and find that.
We're seeing the Maverick come out of the water right now, and I'm sure J. Michael Kelly will have a lot to talk about here. And I mean, the boat ride looked great, and we know how competitive he is on this race course. And I can't wait to get over there and ask him, or maybe Danny's going to be down there, and we can just find out, what happened with his heat. And obviously, Jimmy Shane is going to be pretty wore out from running around the outside because, he did such a stellar job just trying to get around that U11, and Jamie made him work the whole time for it.
Yeah, and Jimmy needed all 3 laps. He needed every bit of that. So good racing. Fans, that's what we've been talking about. We've been having some great racing on the H1 Unlimited circuit here in the 2026 season. Our boats have completed heats 1A and 1B. We'll start getting official results after boats go through the tech truck. I have not looked yet and see if some of that stuff is official. And our Danny Rogers has caught up with Jimmy Shane in the pit area. Let's go to that now.
Jamie Nilsen didn't give you an inch to breathe out there. How did you approach the final lap knowing he was on your heels?
I mean, Seafair is such a different course, right? I mean, it's only 2 miles, and with 3 laps, you do not have time to make up ground. And with this rough of water, I made a run at the before the start of the race, and the boat took off of me. I was like, well, this is what I got to expect for the whole race. So at least I got a good feel in the warm-up for how the boat was going to go into the first turn hard. And once I cleared Mike, I was like, man, Jamie is moving. So I had to get as tight as I could to him. A couple spots there, I was maybe 4 or 5 feet from his boat, and that's what it took to just get around him the shortest way around the course and keeping it tight to Jamie, and kept the Apollo boat out front.
You had to battle FLAV-R-PAC, but also the water out there. How would you best sum it up right now?
Yeah, this was exciting for the photographers and the cameramen. That heat should have been really good for all the fans on the shoreline. I'm glad that it was a side-by-side heat, a great race, and there'll be some really good video and camera shots coming out of that one for sure.
We'll make sure you see them.
I saw it live. I saw Jamie's boat about 8 feet out of the water, and I thought he was gone. And then the boat just kind of came back down, and that's when I was really able to gain on him and pull up next to him. So I'm just fortunate that all the boats came back in one piece, and we're ready for tomorrow.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
He's just so good with the interview, but he kind of said what we saw too. He saw Jamie flying. That was on the front straightaway, about a buoy before the start-finish line, and then he didn't touch on it, but he got pretty loose too. 27, Miss Apollo Jimmy Shane has cleared the truck.
Yeah, I think the U11, watching Jamie Nilsen fly that thing, that's about as far as you can get out of shape and still somehow bring it back down. He did a great job. That's pretty incredible.
Meanwhile, for our fans along the shoreline here and watching on the H1 Unlimited YouTube channel, we are getting ready to go with another heat of Grand Prix America Racing. We've got boats in the water. The clock is ticking down. We're coming up on 4 minutes. 4 minutes and 20 seconds. 4:20 to the start. Have not yet seen any movement. We've got the GP5 is in the water. That's the Jacknut Apparel.
There's the GP35 leaving the dock right now.
So we've got the 5 and the 35. We're scrambling here to figure out who's going to be in this heat.
Yeah, I see the 135 is in the water. The lid was still up, so they are in the water, but have not left the dock yet.
Yeah, so we're flying blind in this one. We don't know who is going to come out. We know that Brandon Kennedy is in this. The GP10 is in the business, in the heat. And the GP15.
That's a nice shot there, the GP10 from our drone operator.
And if we've got this right, it is going to be Greg Hopp in lane number 1. Kevin Ekert is going to be in lane number 2, and on the outside will be Brandon Kennedy. I mentioned the GP5 Jacknut Apparel. They are in the water. I do not believe they are coming out for this particular heat. I think we've got our heats and our lanes now in front of us. We've got, you're looking there off the top end of the race course, that's Brandon Kennedy in the GP35. Behind him up at the top end is the GP17, excuse me, make that the GP10, Kevin Ekert. And if my notes that I have scribbled in front of me here are correct, he will be in lane number 2, and on the inside will be Greg Hopp.
These are a lot better water conditions than these guys had earlier in the day, but the wind is there. I mean, the wind is definitely picked up, but the water itself is a little bit better than we saw this morning. I guess it couldn't be much worse than we saw this morning, though, so that's not saying much. And we know that Greg Hopp had a problem this morning. He was unable to finish, but he's up and running right now. They're breaking that new engine in like Brent spoke about, and just good to see him back on the water. That's the Thai Ginger boat.
Coming up on 1 minute 40 seconds, 1:40 mark to the start. You're looking at the Thai Ginger, the Greg Hopp. Now you're looking behind him is Brandon Kennedy. He's a busy guy. He just finished running our Heat 1A. He was in lane number 2 in the Royer Miss Madison. Brandon Kennedy, now he's jumped over to the smaller boat.
That's the Hage Tool Machine boat. That thing is so fast, so fun to watch. But, you know, we're going to see if Kevin Ekert can make a good start this time, because if I remember right, he was a hair late last time, and it was so hard to try to play catch-up once he got behind. He's looking to really nail this one and get out front early.
Yeah, he'd like to get the jump on Kennedy if he could, and at least be with him or maybe ahead when they get down to the bottom corner, and then see if he can't really run with them. The GP10 is fast. The Freak is a quick boat. Kevin Ekert, if there's power to be had out of the boat, he will get it. As our boats are going up the backstretch here with just inside 40 seconds. 40 seconds until the start. Greg Hopp's just been taking it easy on the inside lane in that GP15. Now he puts his foot in it a little bit, and they're going to pull up all 3 boats together. That's Hopp on the right side of the screen. That's the yellow boat in lane number 1. Kevin Ekert in the middle. On the outside, Brandon Kennedy coming up on 10 seconds. 10 seconds mark. Inside 10 seconds off the top end of the race course. I say it's about time to get rolling here.
Get her going.
Inside 5. We're 3, 2, 1. Mark, boy, that's a good-looking start here for all 3 of our boats. Kennedy on the outside's got the lead. Man, did he fly it. He picked up the front end, and he had to settle it back down, but he still got down to the corner first, Dustin, and he's got the lead on the outside with a couple of hot boats off to his left.
Yeah, really hot, and they're 3 wide, deck to deck. No room for anyone to move over yet, but Kennedy squirts down to a quick lead there. Kevin Ekert in lane number 2, not far behind, and Greg Hopp about a rooster tail back in lane number 1, but man, they are moving down the back straightaway.
Boy, they are indeed. They're going with the wind there. Now they're going to come off the top end of the course here, and they're going to go right into the teeth of that wind. It is still Ekert on the inside, Kennedy on the outside with the lead in that GP35, and he's going to come down with about 2/3, 3/4 of a rooster tail lead over Kevin Ekert in the GP10, the Freak. This is where Kennedy picked it up last time. Sorry.
No, what a run. You know, Kennedy, he's right on the tops of the wakes, and you see him set it down with the canard, and the boat bounces a little bit, reacts off of it. He's doing a great job of balancing it. It's so tough to do in this wind, but he's mastering it right now.
Yeah, now he's opened up water on Kevin Ekert. He's got a couple of rooster tails on him, and he goes up the backstretch, and at some point, Kevin Ekert has got to say, you got me. I'll live to fight another day, and come home in second place. Meanwhile, Greg Hopp in the Thai Ginger comes off the bottom end of the race course. He trails the field, breaking in that new motor.
Yeah, Kevin did exactly what he needed to do there, though. He pushed the start. He had a perfect start. He ran with him as long as he possibly could. Now they can go back tonight, make some changes, and get that thing faster. They're going to have to, because that 35 is one bad machine.
Yeah, that 35 is a rocket. It has been for many years, and boy, oh boy, can Brandon drive it. He drives it extremely well. We are on lap number 3. This is the lap number 3 of 3. Kennedy is coming off the exit pin just as Kevin is getting to the entrance pin. And as that happens, Greg Hopp in the Thai Ginger is coming across start-finish line. So the boats are spread out here in our Heat 2A for Grand Prix America. Top end of the race course, Brandon Kennedy just got to negotiate that upper corner one more time and bring it home, Dustin.
Yeah,
he'll pick up another first place.
That's the rough corner up there, but he's doing a good job. He's keeping his distance in between the buoys. He doesn't want to jeopardize a good first place position, and that right there is your winner for the Grand Prix heat here. Brandon Kennedy, the GP35 Hage Tool Machine. What a great run.
It was a very good run, and a good run, as you said, at least initially, for Kevin Ekert in the GP10, the Freak. He flies the boat a little bit.
Yeah, JJR Engineering, they worked really, really hard to get that thing back on the water today. My hat's off to those guys, and they're going to keep getting faster.
Well, the boat's fast. I mean, we know it is, and Kevin can drive it. But if you're going to beat Brandon Kennedy, you got to have a darn good start, which he did. Unfortunately, Brandon had a good one as well. Greg Hopp comes across start-finish line. It kind of sounded like he opened it up there, maybe for the first time with that new motor, but he gave it a squirt coming down the front straightaway, and the boat certainly responded. That is a fast race boat.
Yeah, we're not seeing everything there is to see out of that the GP15, and they're going to take that data that they got from that last half of straightaway, go back, look at the computer, make sure that engine is happy, brand new. You don't want to hurt that thing, but look at this thing coming down here by the crowd. Ladies and gentlemen on the crowd, give him a wave, because he definitely earned it in this rough water, and he did a fantastic job.
Yeah, and it looks like he's kind of in it. I think he's anxious to get back to the pit area.
He's been a busy guy this weekend so far.
He indeed has been a busy guy. Brandon Kennedy. And he will go and pit right next door to the Miss Madison, the Unlimited that he's been spending time in this weekend.
We've got our next heat of GPs in the water. From what I can see, Brad, they're facing out, and the good news is I see the GP5 is in the water this time.
Yeah, they are in the water, so let's hope we get the Chris Grant in the Jacknut apparel on the water in the GP5. And I think we now have available to us the final and official results of our Heat 1A. I think we're going to throw those up on the screen. And this will be after technical inspection. Have those for you in just a moment. And there they are. So now we've changed the one word up in the upper left-hand corner from unofficial to official. And now it is official. Andrew Tate, you won BWR Racing. He is your official winner of Heat 1A. He picks up 400 points. And one of the happier guys down in the pit area, second place, he cleared Tech. The U12, the Graham Trucking, Jeff Bernard, he'll pick up 300 points. Corey Peabody picks up 225 points for a third place finish, and the Beacon Plumbing presents the Tahoe Miss. Fourth place goes to the Royer Miss Madison, Brandon Kennedy, who just picked up a victory in our Heat 2A of the Grand Prix. Brandon Kennedy will pick up 169 points, and rounding out our 5-boat field in Heat 1A, the U40, Bucket List Racing and Dylan Runne. 127 points. Unfortunately, he picked up a veering out penalty before the heat began, and that cost him. It moved both Corey Peabody and Brandon Kennedy up a notch. They'll take it, but a tough run there for Dylan Runne.
Yeah, he'll shake it off for this next heat, and just you know, they got to regroup. And the lane position he was in was a tough one. He's in the middle of a lot of fast boats. You know, lane 3 that's a tough place to make a start. So that stuff happens, and you know, mistakes happen, so not the end of the world, and I'm sure he'll correct and move on to the next heat.
And this is the boat. I talked to him this morning. We did there when we had our little pit walk going on this morning. We talked to Dylan Runne. I also talked to boat owner Kelly Stockland, and he said, we're really learning. We're learning a lot. We're learning a lot about each other because Dylan is new with the race team. He's learning the boat. So it's a team that is it oozes with potential. You know how fast that boat is. And when everything's right on this one, we could see some serious. And we are going to go down. Apparently, our Danny Rogers caught up with Jamie Nilsen after his run in Heat 1B. Let's go to that interview now.
He said he saw your boat fly about 8 feet in the air, and that's when he could put the pedal to the metal. How would you sum up that heat?
A little hairy. We definitely got out of shape coming off of turn 2 that first lap, and I learned real quick. Apparently, I don't need to lift the boat with the wing. The wind, there's plenty of wind to do it for me. So, but luckily, the Miss FLAV-R-PAC, she's set up really well. She came right back down when I needed her to, and you know what, ran really well. Speed's there. Water's definitely rough, but anytime you can lead a boat like the 27 for 2 laps, I mean, you're obviously doing something right.
Yeah. The FLAV-R-PAC continues to do exactly what you think it can. How do you build off this one?
Yeah, I mean, we just keep trying to make it faster. So that was just one combination. There's endless combinations left, but the most important thing is Miss FLAV-R-PAC's handling well. I think that's going to be critical in this rough water. And she's plenty fast, so it'll be exciting to see how things shake out. There's still a lot of racing to go, so I think it's going to be a bit of a war of attrition and a bit of a survival factor, too.
Good luck. Thank you.
Hey, thank you.
Jamie Nilsen there. Apparently the boat got his attention. We saw it. We called it. And I can only imagine how that does grab your attention real quick when it happens.
Yeah, in these things you can never relax. You can never think that you know what's going to happen next, because that's when you get bit. But Jamie did a great job of just getting back on that pedal, getting the thing settled back down, and he never pulled his foot out of the throttle. I was watching out in front of us, and he didn't give up hardly anything. He corrected perfectly, and back on the gas he went. So it was a great run. They should be really proud of themselves.
And do not count them out. They're a player in this Apollo Mechanical Cup at Seafair for 2026. That would be Jamie Nilsen and the U11, the Miss FLAV-R-PAC. So we've had a couple good heats of racing. We just had our Heat 2A of our Grand Prix America hydroplanes. We're now awaiting our Heat 2B to take to the water. We can only see one of the boats. I take that back. We can see 2 of our 3 boats. We got the Cool Cat Motorsports Lazy Boy. The GP 135 is in the water. That is the dark blue boat on the very, very right-hand side of the screen in the water. And then I'm going to let Dustin tell you what color the Jacknut apparel is. The GP5, it's yellow or it's green or it's a combination of both or something.
It's kind of a chartreuse yellow.
Hey, I wasn't going to get there.
Yeah, well, it's it stands out. That's all you need to know. You can definitely look out on the race course and you can see it. It stands out. The Jacknut apparel boat, very cool, very prominent colors, and looks great in the water.
It does. It looks really good on the water. And if the boat was painted black, I would really like it, because I really like the lines of that particular hydroplane. So we're just keeping an eye on the upper right-hand corner of our screen, and we will look for a countdown clock to show up there, at which time we'll get our Grand Prix boats on the water for Heat 2B. We had some racing this afternoon. We finally got some in. Dustin, there were some question marks this morning whether or not that was going to happen. It's been a little hairy. Our boats have been flying a bit, but so far so good.
Yeah, it's been some great racing. I mean, the conditions have been Seattle-esque. This is not a place that when you think about this race course, you think that's going to be a smooth, big, race course. And this thing is just it's a brawl. You get out here and you're fighting the competitors, you're fighting the race course, and doing the best you can.
So what we are going to do right now, we understand there's a couple of minutes until we get to the start of our Grand Prix Heat 2B. We are going to step away for just a moment, but we're going to have racing back out on the Ted Jones race course shortly. We're going to step away. Don't go far. It's the 2026 Apollo Mechanical Cup at Seafair on the H1 Unlimited YouTube network. We'll be right back. Back here on the start-finish line tower, Brad Luce, along with Dustin Eccles. We are getting ready to run Grand Prix America. Heat 2B, expecting 3 boats out on the water. We got 1, we got 2, and we are waiting on.
We got 3.
We've got 3. We do indeed. I was going to say there's 2 boats on this side of the pit area, and they're both gone. And I see the 17, and I know they came from the other side. So We've got them all. So let's take a quick look. Lane number 1, going to be Chris Grant, the GP5 Jack Nut Apparel. They'll be in lane number 1. A boat you and I both like. Awesome Austin Ekrit going to be in lane number 2, driving the GP17, the Miss Runne, and then on the outside, it's going to be the GP 135 Lazy Boy, powered by the V Foundation.
And nothing lazy about that team. You know, they've been working their tails off. Came a long way to come out here and race, and they've been doing a great job. And like I said earlier, the water conditions right now are better than what they ran in earlier. Both of these boats performed flawlessly earlier. We didn't see the GP5 early, but he's here now, and he's in lane number 1.
Yeah, this could be very good. See how the Chris Grant Jack Nut Apparel boat can handle. He's going to be in a good lane. Lane 1, don't be late. Get down to the corner on time with everybody. Yeah. Austin Ekrit, we know he's got a rocket when that boat runs. That's what you're looking at there on the screen, that beautiful blue and white hydroplane as it comes off the bottom end of the race course. And John Shaw, that GP 135, we watched Jeff Bernard be so successful in that boat a year ago when it was the GP 79 and owned by Mike Grindell.
Yeah, in the heat earlier, you know, John Shaw, he got a little behind at the start, and he didn't push it very hard trying to play catch-up. But you can bet that this heat right now, he's going to try to get out front early.
Well, he just took a little squirt coming down the front straightaway, got a timing run at the start-finish line. Here comes Austin Ekrit. He comes across, coming up on a minute 30. A minute 30 mark right there. 1:30 to our start. What are they going to do, Dustin? They're going to cut the course again? Are they going to go up?
Well, if they're going to cut the course, they better do it quick and get on it. But
and here comes Shaw. He's going to do it.
Yeah, they've got time. They can't dally. They need to go. So Chris Grant's going to follow right along, and he's really going to need to get on it also.
I think Ekrit, Austin might just head up. No, he's going to come across as. No, he's not. No, he's not. I thought he was going to come across, and he said no. He thought the better of it. He's going to pull the foot a little bit. And he is approaching the halfway mark of the backstretch. He will be okay. Austin Ekrit. And he's going to be in lane number 2. Coming off the corner, you're looking at Austin Ekrit. The 2 other boats are coming up behind him. Going to go to his right, and on the outside is going to be the GP 135 Lazy Boy, powered by the V Foundation. And then Chris Grant, the Jack Nut Apparel, he will slot into lane number 1. 23 seconds, Dustin. You like where they are?
Yeah, they're looking really good right now. They're right on time. You see Austin start to get into the throttle just a little bit, coming up on 15 seconds right now. They're going to be right on.
Well, Austin Ekrit in lane 2, John Shaw on the outside are tied together. They're the 2 boats that are going to bring them to the line. We'll check the clock. We are 3, 2, 1. Mark. Appears to be a clean start, and Shaw broke the clock, but he's got Ekrit with him off to his left and on the inside. Chris Grant is going to trail the field down to the bottom end of the race course. It's going to be a 2-boat run down to the lower end, and who's going to get down there first? Shaw's going to get down there first, but he's on the outside. Ekrit with that inside lane position is going to get to the exit pin first, but they're tied together, Dustin. This is a good one.
Yeah, Shaw nailed his start on the outside, but he hung that boat forever entering turn number 1, and so he lost a little ground. Austin Ekrit gets up ahead of him, but here they are, deck to deck down the back straightaway. Shaw gets out of it just a little bit. It's rough.
It's really rough, and that lead changed hands a couple times up the backstretch. Awesome. Austin Ekrit on the inside here of John Shaw. Shaw, you're looking for him. There he is on the outside, but now Ekrit has opened up a lot of water on John Shaw as they come down to put 1 in the books with 2 to go. Austin Ekrit, he's got a rocket. If he can garner this thing and keep it in control on these tough conditions, it's going to be tough to catch now.
Yeah, he does. He's got control of this race course. You know, John Shaw is driving blind. He can't see the buoys, so Austin can kind of take him wherever he wants to go, and he's got a good boat setup for the inside, and he's going to keep John Shaw on the outside where he wants him.
Shaw has not yet given up. He's still going to come off the corner and give it a go and try and run, and now I think maybe he might be, he's still running hard. But Austin Ekert's got a big lead. He's got almost 2 full rooster tails on John Shaw as we hit the top end of the race course on the second of 3 times around this 1 2/3 race course.
Yeah, it looks like Austin Ekert tightens it up just a little bit now, and he can kind of roll out of it. He's really moving, but he has this race course under control right now. He's just running as fast as he needs to stay ahead. He's heading into a really strong headwind, so he's being smart. But we can't take our eyes off Chris Grant right now. You know, he got a bad start. He was on the inside, but he looked like he almost started closing in on John Shaw just a little bit, but now he's back off the throttle.
The third of 3 times around our race course here. We check out the flag. The white flag flies. This is the last lap. Checkered flag should come out here shortly. And it's going to come out and fly for awesome Austin Ekert in the GP17 to Miss Runne.
Yeah, this boat is looking so much better than it was early in the season when we saw it. This team really has it dialed in, and they went to work last night just to get it to make the heats today, and boy, did it ever make the heats, because he's got another heat win here.
He's got another heat win right here. Checkered flag flies. Austin Ekert, GP17, Miss Runne. And as Dustin likes to say, he gently pulls his foot out of it. John Shaw will come by in second place in the GP 135. Lazy Boy, powered by the V Foundation, and Chris Grant. But it's a victory for Chris Grant. He got out this time, he got started, he finished, and he's going to bring it back under his own power.
You know, just a quick note, Brad, off to our right is one of the hospitality tents put together by JJR Engineering. And I could hear those fans and employees screaming through my headset. They were screaming so loud for their boat. So it's great to see the support, and I'm sure Brian and his whole team can really feel the love from those guys, you know, yelling that loud down there. That is cool to hear. And they know how much work went into those guys' boats to put them on the water, make them this fast. So it's cool.
Now that you say it, I'm hearing it too. They're hooting and hollering down there, having a good time as they should. Their boat and young Mr. Ekert doing a fine job.
They've got quite the facility in Woodinville, Washington here, where they make a lot of aerospace parts. And I was, Brian's a good friend of mine. I was lucky enough to tour that facility a few times, and they've got great people there building some wonderful, cool parts. So that's a really good team he's put together.
And you're kind of zooming in there on Austin Ekert as he found his way back to the pit area, waving at some fans. I'm sure he's got a smile on his face, as well he should.
He always does, though.
That's a true statement. So I understand we now have official and final results for our Limited Heat 1B. These are official. Jimmy Shane, your winner, as he was on the water. He will pick up 400 points for that victory, and it was a well-earned victory because he had to drive around a very game Jamie Nilsen in the U11, the Miss FLAV-R-PAC. Jamie will pick up 300 points for his efforts there. And then we have the unfortunate news that we picked up. Gunnar O'Farrell in the U21 Beacon Plumbing presents KZOK unfortunately did not get through tech inspection. They got a no data recorded moniker on their box when it went through tech inspection. There was no data. Therefore, by the rules and the rule book, they get 0 points for that heat. So a tough break after just nipping J. Michael Kelly at the line in maybe one of the closest finishes in any heat for any position that maybe we've ever seen on Lake Washington. But unfortunately, it's going to go the way of the tech truck. Third place will go to J. Michael Kelly in the Beacon Plumbing presents the Maverick. They will pick up 225 points.
Just looking at the boat tender here, trying to push Austin Ekert back into the pit area. they have their hands full in this wind. They're trying to push him, but they are going the wrong way.
So I have just been handed a note that apparently the H1 officials have signed off on the fact that tomorrow morning we are going to run unlimited heat 2A and 2B. Tomorrow morning, we are going to run Unlimiteds 2A and 2B. They were originally on the schedule for this afternoon, but those two heats are going to be run tomorrow morning. They are going to go off at 8:45 and 9:15. Heat 2A and 2B for H1 Unlimited will go at 8:45 and 9:15 tomorrow morning. There will be no testing prior to. And that is official. The officials upstairs and the chief referee have signed off on that. Heat 2A and 2B at 8:45 and 9:15 tomorrow morning with no test session. Austin getting a push back to the dock, directing the boat that's pushing him in there. Take me over to those guys, the ones with their holding a rope in their hand and still clapping. They're still cheering over there. Push me in over there. They look like fun.
And hopefully they have an easier night tonight than they did last night, but at least their hard work paid off. And all these teams, they have a lot to be really proud of today. They all worked their tails off, and some great racing today.
We did have some good racing today, and certainly on the H1 side, we had some great racing today. It is right now 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and basically I wasn't sure we were going to get any racing in. There was some time today when we were walking through the pit area, Dustin, when we were looking at this wind and the water, and boy, if we could have gotten something in, we were really going to be lucky. Apparently, we are a little bit lucky on that regard because we got 1A and 1B in for our H1 Unlimiteds. We got 2A and 2B in for the Grand Prix. So all of it is good on that front. We're going to run 2A and 2B for the H1 Unlimiteds tomorrow morning, starting at 8:45. That's when our big show will begin. We have been told in something that I don't remember happening, especially on a day as pretty as this right now, save for the wind, the Blue Angels have canceled their show today. They were expected to be out here very shortly, if not right now, but they have canceled their show for this afternoon due to the wind. And so what that all translates into, at the 2026 Apollo Mechanical Cup at Seafair, we are done for the day. Our boat racing is done. Our air show is in the books, and everybody will be back here bright and early tomorrow morning. We're going to begin the show at 8:45 with H1 Unlimited, Heat 2A, and that'll go, as I say, at 8:45 in the morning. So with that, that's going to wrap up our coverage of the 2026 Apollo Mechanical Cup at Seafair. It's been a good day of racing. We didn't get it in quite as quick as we wanted to, but we did get it in. We got it done, at least the two first heats. We're going to run 2A and 2B, 3A and 3B tomorrow, and then we got the big final coming up when we pull out the Apollo Mechanical Cup. Thoughts on the day, Mr. Eccles?
Well, like I said before, I think it was a day of survival, but everybody pushed through, and they got it done. A lot of hard work, but we had a great show, and I'm just thankful for the racing we saw.
Yeah, I am too, and I want to thank the officials and Seafair and air show people. There is a lot of coordination that goes on. If you take a heat and all of a sudden you can't run it because of the wind, and you say, well, we'll just run it an hour later, well, you're shoving everybody down the road, and it becomes difficult. Dustin just pointed out on the screen, for those of you that are watching on the YouTube channel, look at those flags on the far right-hand side of the screen. They're sticking out there pretty heavy, and the wind it's blowing pretty well here on the start-finish line tower, but we got it in. We got a bunch of it in, and we're going to do a bunch more racing tomorrow. And so we also want to spend one more moment and say a couple of words about our friend Bill Myers and the Memorial Broadcast Studios we have here. He got his ride in the Miss Bardall today. We're joined by a member of his family right here, and we're so glad to have her with us. And it was a big day for her. It was a big day for your dad, and everything from that standpoint went according to plan.
Absolutely, yeah. Just a lot of positives today and a lot of good to look back on.
So, from the Bill Myers Memorial Broadcast Studios at the start-finish line on Lake Washington at Seafair 2026, For Danny Rogers down in the pit area, Dustin Eccles, this is Brad Luce at the start-finish line saying so long for today. 8:45 tomorrow morning. Heat 2A of the H1 Unlimiteds will be on Lake Washington. Don't miss it. We'll be here. We hope you will be too. Good night, everybody.
I'm Dylan Runne, and you're watching H1 Unlimited on YouTube.
H1 Unlimited hydroplanes.
The world's fastest race boats.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, really flying the boat. It doesn't get any better than that. They are going to be side by side. This is for the checkered flag.